Hello. In this lesson, we will combine contractions and negative statements with the verb be. Look at these negative contractions. I am not becomes I'm not. You are not becomes you're not, and it becomes you aren't. Got it? You're not or you aren't. He is not becomes he's not or he isn't. She is not. She's not. She isn't. It is not. It's not. It isn't. We are not. We're not. We aren't. And they are not. They're not. They aren't. Two forms for most of those. Here are some more examples. I am an instructor. I'm not a pupil. I'm not a student. You are a pupil. You're not an instructor. Or you aren't an instructor. You're not an instructor. You aren't an instructor. He is a dentist. He's not an instructor. Or he isn't an instructor. She is a president. She's not a violinist. She isn't a violinist. It is a pencil. It's not a marker. It's not a pen. It isn't a marker. And we are friends. We're not biologists. We aren't biologists. That's good. Let's do a little practice now. There are two negatives you have to consider when you're making contractions. I say two words, she, conductor. And you make the negative sentence, she is not a conductor. Or, contracted, she's not a conductor, she isn't a conductor. Got it? Let me try it one more time. You make a negative sentence. So I say she, conductor, she is not a conductor. She's not a conductor, she isn't a conductor. Okay? Let's try some. She, conductor. She is not a conductor. Contracted forms. She's not a conductor. She isn't a conductor. That's great. You, teacher. You are not a teacher. Or, you're not a teacher. Or, you aren't a teacher. Perfect. We, enemies. We are not enemies. We're not enemies. We aren't enemies. It, pen. It is not a pen. Contracted forms. It's not a pen. It isn't a pen, yeah. He, pupil. He is not a pupil. He's not a pupil. He isn't a pupil. They, students. They are not students. They're not students. They aren't students. And I, violinist, I am not a violinist. I'm not a violinist. That's great. Now let's prepare to do an exercise in the study guide. In this exercise, we combine contractions and negative statements. And you'll complete the negative statements with contractions. For example, I am a professor becomes I'm not a president, or I'm not a doctor, or I'm not a student. Not so tough, right? Okay. Now pause the program, look at the study guide, and please complete the exercise. Remember, when you finish, come right back here. All right, let's review. I am a professor. You wrote, I'm not a president. I'm not a doctor. Good. You are a doctor. You wrote, you're not a secretary, or you aren't a secretary. Good, also. We are friends. Possibilities. We're not enemies. We aren't enemies. We aren't students, etc., etc. They are biologists. They're not conductors. And another form, they aren't conductors. That's very nice. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson.